There are plenty of ways to bring footage into After Effects. You can use the import command with all of its options, drag and drop files with custom interpretation rules, rely on dynamic link, copy and paste between applications, or even use the libraries panel that most people politely ignore. But which method is actually the fastest, the safest, and the least likely to break your project? That's exactly what I'll explore in this video. I'll also show you a much better replacement for the media browser panel, which has been mostly decorative for years, using a free extension that lets you visually browse footage before bringing it into After Effects. I'll start here inside Premiere Pro, where I have this timeline with a few titles, an adjustment layer, and a picture at the end. Let's say that I want to continue and finesse it inside After Effects. One way to work is to select the timeline itself, continue to hold your mouse, then move it just a touch, and then switch to After Effects and then let go in the project panel. This is going to create a dynamic link clip which is basically connected between those two applications. So now if I create a timeline out of it, we are going to see a reflection of what's inside Premiere Pro. So if I go back to Premiere Pro and let's say switch off one of those layers, it's automatically updated inside After Effects, which is great if you're a one-man band. But if you want more control, I'm going to revert this situation, and then I'm just going to select all the clips and copy them to the clipboard, return back to After Effects, and I'm going to say goodbye to the media file, so to the timeline. I'm also going to rename this timeline, and then I'll go to the beginning and paste. And this is going to paste everything from Premiere Pro to After Effects, and this is a great starting point. So instead of importing the file, I can continue from this point. Although I got a real big mess here, so I need to clean it up before moving to the next step. Notice that each one of those titles is now inside the pre-comp, which is a bit difficult to work. So I'm going to select one of those pre-comps and then click on the label group and select the label group. It's going to select everything for me. I'm going to use, in this case, the mobile script, but there are other scripts that can do it for you. So inside the composition options here, I've already favored something new, which is a DeCompose tool. And you can see it over here as well. So if I click on DeCompose, it's going to do all of the work for me, leaving me with the titles on their own, and now I can continue to work, which is great if you want to work between Premiere Pro and After Effects. But what if you want to bring more stuff into this project? Let's say something from Photoshop or from Illustrator. First off, let's just rearrange our project so it will be easier to manage. So I'm going to sort it using the tag, and then I'm going to actually say goodbye to all of those compositions except of the one that I'm working with. And then I'll grab all the other things here and just place them inside a folder. Name this one Sources. Now I'll switch to Photoshop, and let's say that I want to import this multi-layer document and replace the peg shot and then animate it inside After Effects. Now obviously I can drag and drop it, and I'll show you how to work with it because there is something important you need to know about dragging and dropping. But now let me show you another way to work. I'm going to select all the layers here, and I'll make sure that I can see the libraries panel. So on my machine, it's already docked near the properties panel. If you can't see it, you can find it under the window menu. And I'm going to create a new library for this project. I'll name this one London. And then I'll drag everything from Photoshop over here to create a cloud-based document that I can sync from this panel. And I can do the same thing inside Illustrator. So I'll switch to Illustrator. I have this double-decker bus. I'll select everything that I want to include. I'll bring the libraries panel on screen. I'll hop inside the London library. This is basically just a folder in the cloud. And I'll drag and drop it over here. I'll wait for a moment until it's going to be synced, and then I'll name it Bus. Now I'll switch back to After Effects, and I can go to the window panel and show the libraries panel, or I can just use the libraries workspace, which is what I'm going to do in this case. And this is going to show me all the libraries here, including my recent one, which is the London one. Now I can just select both files and I can drag and drop them into the project. And of course, now I can also drag and drop them back to this composition, as well as trim the layers and work with those layers over here. So maybe I'll reduce the size of this bus put it somewhere over there. Now, notice that these are just flattened files. And in order for the sync with the cloud to work, you actually need to work with flattened files. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say that I want to edit something from the Photoshop document. Instead of the regular way, which is selecting the file here in the timeline and then going to the edit menu and choosing edit original or pressing Ctrl or Command E, which is going to work, but it's not going to update this version in the cloud. I'm actually going to close this one as well as this one, and then I'll make sure I can see the Photoshop interface and double click on the graphics, which is on the cloud. Now I can select any one of those layers. I'll press Command U just to quickly show you how modifying the hue in this case is going to, after saving the file, update the file in the cloud. So notice that it does something and now it's ready to be used inside After Effects, which is already reading the correct version. And this is of course true for Illustrator as well. So if I'll pop into Illustrator, I'll need to make sure that I'm not using the file that I have inside After Effects. This is referencing a temporary file on the desktop. I actually need to double click on the file that I dragged to the libraries folder. You see the name is something completely different. This is the name that it has in the cloud. And now I can do something, I don't know, crazy for this one. So maybe let's just go with this just to show you that this is actually working. But I'm going to save on top of the previous one, return back to After Effects, and you can see that this is going to update over here. Now, if you do need the individual layers, then you actually need to bring the original files because this technique works only with flattened footage. So let me show you a cool way to bring files the same way you want them every time. I'm actually going to go to the settings options, then go to import, and inside the import dialog, I'll change the drag import multiple items. So you can only do it if you are dragging more than one item, to composition retain layer sizes. I'll click OK, and notice what will happen now when I'm going to bring a Finder window above After Effects, and then I'll grab those two files, drag and drop them inside the project panel, and automatically, without any questions, we are going to get what we want, which is separations of all the layers. This is for the Photoshop file, this is for the Illustrator file, and now of course we can animate each one of them individually. So hopefully this makes sense. And you know what makes even more sense? Checking out my latest course with School of Motion. After Effects Insider is your backstage pass to how the pros really work. It's made for motion designers who want to stop guessing and start finessing. No fluff, no filler, and definitely no 45-minute videos just to learn how to enable motion blur. This isn't a beginner course. This is pro-level knowledge designed to help you stay sharp, meet deadlines, and keep your creativity intact. After Effects is massive, it's powerful, flexible, and also very good at hiding the features that can save you time. So jump in to level up your skills, speed your workflow, and finally feel like the app is working with you, not against you. Okay, back to the tutorial. There is one more way to bring files into After Effects, and this is using Window Media Browser. Now, this is a big promise that was never fulfilled. So what we have here is a similar version to the Premiere Media Browser. But if I'll open up one of my drives and let's dig inside the project that we are working with and check maybe the source files, so maybe all the video files, we can see the names but no previews whatsoever. We can't do anything with it. This is even worse when it comes to still files. So inside this graphics folder, I have those PSD and Illustrator files that can't even show. So I think the purpose of this panel is actually to work with team projects. And this will allow you to select projects that you're working with other colleagues and of course use them in order to work with someone else in your team. But other than that, this is totally useless and doesn't serve any real purpose. But what if I told you there is a free alternative that can show you all the media files, including Mogart? And this is, of course, AE Viewer. So you have two versions. You have the free one and the pro one. I'm just going to demonstrate the free version. And of course, links to everything down below. I'll take it and I'll park it near the media browser. And as you can see, this is much more useful. We can, of course, browse inside the regular footage files as well as favorite them so we can quickly get access to things that we are using all the time. For example, here are my brand files, and if I want to use something quickly, I can just double click on it and it's going to bring it inside the AE Viewer for this project. You can also preview audio files and, as I told you before, Mogarts. So here are a few Mogarts that I can preview before bringing them to either After Effects or Premiere Pro. And this is my to-go tool when I want to import stuff to After Effects. So I know that importing files into After Effects is not the sexiest topic, but it's one of those small workflow decisions that quietly keeps your project organized, your links intact, and your sanity in check. Hopefully one or two of the methods that I showed you here will fit your workflow and save you time when you are moving assets between different Adobe applications. I'm curious to know how you bring footage into After Effects and how you keep track of versions and updates across a project. If you want me to elaborate on this and show you how I manage my plugins, scripts, and other stuff, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.